Today I saw something that I had not seen for a very long time. We saw Mamelodi Sundowns shaking. You see, Raja did everything that Raja was meant to do in these games. Raja is a team that's sitting number 8 in their league. They've fired coaches, the technical directors. Hey, they're going through turmoil in Raja. So you could expect that they're going to come into the game and they're going to try rush Sundowns. You'd expect that they're going to come into the game and try get Sundowns out of their feelings, get them into their feelings, make them angry, make them reactive. You could expect that they were going to dive, they were going to dark arts that game. We knew all of that coming into this game. But for the first time in a long time, I saw Sundowns lose their aura. I saw Sundowns trying to play at a pace of another team, almost as if they were trying to go pound for pound with them. I saw a Sundowns team that was fighting unnecessarily, that was reckless in their tackles, that was reckless in their passing, that was just torn apart over and over and over again by a team that frankly shouldn't be worrying Mamelodi Sundowns if we're being 100% honest about where Raja is right now. What scares me is that Sundowns has a poise, has an aura, that even if they go 1-0 down, they know they're going to get back. They exude that thing, they've got that thing. They know that it's just a matter of time before we score. And if it means we score 89 minutes, 90 minutes, we will do it. That was gone today. I saw Mamelodi Sundowns at some point play with 5 defenders and still get torn apart. There was no grown-ups on that bench. Coach looks as worried and as scared as ever. And I think that's bleeding into the team. He's nervous and it's bleeding into the team. You often take you take the persona of the person who's coaching you, and who kind of also looks a bit shaky. Now, let's get into the game. There's a couple of things I've spoken about over the past few weeks where I've mentioned some of the weaknesses that Mamelodi Sundowns has under Caroso. Some of the things that maybe could be taken advantage of. And Raja came for all of them. Let's start with the playing out from the back. At some points, the playing out from the back was just rushed. At some point, Sundowns was trying to do too much. And if you watch my videos, I've told you guys about Mokwena and I've told you guys about Obas. The beauty of Rulani's system was that it made secondary passers shine. What do I mean by a secondary passer? Rivaldo Kutsia gets the ball and he progresses the ball. He gives it to the guys, and because he's given it to, let's say, Mokwena, and there's other people around him, he can play that pass. But if you ask Mokwena to be the primary ball carrier, he's going to lose that ball more often than not. And that's what we saw. I've told you guys about Mokwena playing that primary ball handling role. It's far easier for him to play a pass back than to turn into midfield and go. I spoke the other game about Allende and how Allende needs to now realize that all of that pressure is on his shoulders now. And he needs to be the responsible party to come and fetch the ball and play the ball. Sorry to interrupt the video that I'm sure you're enjoying, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that you guys have shown me and my Overthinking Football platform. I'm a one-man band that's doing all of this, and I really do enjoy the comments about how, Supersport needs to come fetch me and SABC and all of that stuff. And I think it speaks to the quality of the content, but also the amount of effort that I put in. So I just wanted to say thank you. But the truth is that Abo Supersport and all of those guys, yes, we're competing with them, but it's a completely different place. The sponsors are looking for former players, and to be honest with you, running some of these things is getting so difficult, and things have changed at home. So financially, it's a whole different world. So I wanted to try something new and come to the overthinkers, the people who watch the content, and say it would be incredible if you guys could contribute monthly towards the platform, towards keeping my lights on, but also making sure that all of the crazy things that I want to do, that I want to take Supersport on with, I can actually do. And just for 20 Rand every month, I think that would be an incredible contribution if you can make it. It may sound like a little, but if we can get a lot of people behind it, then we'll be able to carry on doing what I do. I'll be able to carry on giving you the content and also expanding it, because we don't have shows like this, and us content creators need help from our audiences. So I just came here to ask you if you can. Here is the account number that you guys can use in order to contribute. And I think, yeah, I'd be very grateful if you would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You look at Ribeiro. Ribeiro is an incredible 10. One of the best 10s that I've seen. The problem with Ribeiro is the further he is away from the danger zone, the box, the further away he is, the more selfish he becomes. And because Mamelodi Sundowns was brought back, Obas was back, Mokwena was back, out of the fear of what Raja was doing, Allende drops a little bit, and that meant Ribeiro had to come and fetch the ball. And when he fetches the ball, he becomes selfish. He becomes a player that delays the passes. He becomes a player that delays, the move forward. He's one of those players that he doesn't need. You mustn't give him a lot of time. The moment you give him a lot of time, he's going to mess up something. But the less time he has, the more straightforward and incisive he is. Reyners and Matthews. First thing that I didn't understand is Matthews, when I remember it, was a player that was playing on the left-hand side. And Reyners was central, but sort of drifting wide and coming in. Both of them would run in like that and allow Ribeiro to play the 10. So I was a little bit surprised when they put him on the left-hand side, they put him on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, Reyners was playing with Lunga, which meant that Reyners would drop back in to try and get that ball a lot of times, and you'd lose the thing that makes Reyners dangerous. His pace when in line with the defenders. I think we only saw one through pass that was offside that got through. But here's the biggest thing that I think Raja took advantage of. I remember watching that first game that they played. I believe it was Raja, the first game that they played against Raja at Loftus. And what Raja was doing was that they would press and they'll try to win the ball as high up as possible, so that they saw Ulunga is a little bit slow getting back. And there's that man, I'm forgetting his name and number, but he played right wing for Raja. He was the guy who was responsible for tearing up that left-hand side defender. And he created a lot of chances from there. And it's something that they did from the first game, where they'd play balls directly out that way, get to that place, and then have support runners. They just struggle with the decision making. If Raja Casablanca had better decision making, better final ball, better shooting, they would have run away with this game, because they showed the difference. I spoke about the dark arts. They made sure that the Sundowns players were getting angry and pushing. They were physical from the beginning, which is a pattern that we're seeing, because AS FAR was a similar type of physical versus Sundowns. And they almost got something out of that game. But I think Raja, firstly, Bamnandi, they combine very well. They build very well. They're tricky. They're tricky players. It's just that shot a final ball. And they had Sundowns in defense for almost the whole game. This game reminds me of the Tuks game last season that Sundowns played, where Tuks was determined to press them high, press them hard, forced them into mistakes, forced them. And the smart thing they did, Raja, was to press certain players. Like I said, Sundowns has a lot of secondary passers. So you press a Mokwena and you might get the ball. You press Obas, you might get the ball. Williams was pressed at some point because there was nobody who was opening up. The only player you could say that was comfortable, relatively comfortable, was khoza, who is a revelation. Raja was worth this win. Raja did everything they needed to do to get this win. And I know people are going to speak about the ref and some of the decisions and things like that, but on the balance of the game, Raja was the better team for most of this game. The only point where you thought Raja might be giving it up was around 10 minutes into the second half when they started defending deep and they were giving Mamelodi Sundowns the possession. And Sundowns still chose to sort of play the ball around until they lost it. And I think that hurt them quite a bit. Raja almost committed that mistake of sitting back where Rulani at the end of games, when games were like this, when Sundowns didn't come to the party, would throw on a lot of forward players and bombard the box. Just bombard the box. And it's not because you've got finishers and Shalulile might finish or Mendieta. He was just bombarding the box because when you get to that time, psychologically, it's a 1-0 scoreline. That team knows that, you're going to be coming directly at them. They know that they're going to be under pressure. At times you start wanting to clear the ball quickly and defend gang ho tibang tibang. I call it tibang tibang. And he would bombard that box because somebody's going to slip or somebody's going to do something. Somebody might score a great straight, but for the most part, a mistake will be made. And Sundowns didn't show urgency. Guys, this Sundowns for me was reckless. It was emotional. It was ill-disciplined. There were so many things that were going wrong for this Mamelodi Sundowns. And I don't know if it's the coach and him coming in, but they can't play games like this. And somebody needs to take control at Sundowns because I feel as though the players are now running the club, or the players are now running the field, and the players are doing things that they don't understand, they don't know. And they're outbursting, and they're doing all... Guys, do you need an iron fist with South African players in order to make sure that they don't do crazy things or they don't go off the rails? And can Cardoso be that guy? And was Manqoba vindicated for wanting to have that type of iron fist discipline after the love that Rulani showed? Because it feels as though Rulani showed these players love. He grew their egos under him. Manqoba came in and tried to tether those egos and got burnt by the size of the players. And now it seems like this new coach is having to deal with players that believe that they're bigger than the system that the club is asking for. And maybe I'm reaching, but it really does seem that way because this is not the Sundowns that I know. Anyway, Raja wins their first game of the group, and let's see where they take it from there. It's been incredible. I'll see you guys on the next one.